Can you guys let other people know quickly in the chat, please? Because my Discord's not working. Let other people know. There was some turnaround times, like I said, end of day, right at 3:39, 3:38. 3:39 is calculated, so I figured if they can hold off 741675, which they did, this is where they can basically reattempt the 20, 21. And you can kind of see how they initially started breaking 19, 20. They still need over 21, 25, 22 to get any sort of real progression here, but this is kind of pushing into those very, very, very late odds that I mentioned we had. Is there any viewers here? I still can't, even Twitch isn't working. What's going on? 3:45 is a calculated time, guys. These are my end of day odds. Can you guys hear, see? It shows 0 viewers for me for some reason. I don't know why. Can you guys see? So basically SPX is just kind of stalled. So I was wondering if basically this is SPX trying to pin 7400, which is ES pinning the 7420s. Can someone type in this Twitch so I can ensure that it's working? Because on my side it shows that there's no one watching. So if there's no one watching, then I'm just not going to stream, I guess, the last half hour. But this was the point and turnaround for the last segment here. The odds for today were super late. And I didn't like that they stalled here, so I figured that them stalling at this point in time, which was so crucial, implied that they'd recycle range down. The overall recycled range down was roughly 20 points, which means they took away odds of getting into the channel, at least for real time. Because this range here could have been recycled on upside. Okay, so they definitely did take away those odds, which, I mean, it's not the end of the world, but... Okay, let's start setting some alerts. Of course, we're going to watch 348 and 350, but today's odds were super, super late. They were literally end of day, okay? So 354, 357, 401. There's a lot of odds right after close. These were calculated times, so I don't know if there's something that's going to happen after close today. Like, who knows, but... it's worth at least noting that. So far stalling that 2-1 overhead. We'll see. They basically made this so that it's pinnable basically between 74.11 and 74.28. They left room on each end here. Okay, so they left basically, these were the max ranges. Okay, they had some odds for here. You can kind of see that they breached beneath here by pretty much the same range beneath 3-1. Okay, so if they want to recycle that up and trigger our 3-1 spot, they can. Okay, or maybe 30, like close to here. That would be the equivalent range down, but overall they took away quite a bit of range for real time. I took a long off 74.09, 74.11 holds, which I don't know if that was the best move, but we'll see, I guess, if they at least give us these 20s. Okay. What time is it? I'm not sure what's going on with Discord. Looks like they're having server issues. I thought it was something wrong with my internet, because it wasn't working off my phone either. That's when I realized it's probably just Discord. That's a reduction stick off 4.8. So like I said, I feel like they have to be back over 74.21 before those final 10 minutes. I think over 2.4 would be the better case scenario, or 2.2. Like, these are the really calculated areas for ES. So we'll have to see here. But they did a big job of reducing range, of getting us to the channel. Which honestly is okay. Like, them keeping it in the 20s is still calculated. Like, these are still our weekly max ranges for the week anyway. We had some extensions. If they didn't want to keep it going, that's also fine. It's something that we kind of had to factor in earlier. So they might just want to keep it pinned here. See if that so 350 is kind of battling between 16 and 24, okay? So 22 to 24, 16 to 14, that's kind of like the midpoint battle between here to get back to 74.11, 74.09, or to get back to 74.28 to 74.31. If they want to just kind of keep it stuck and pinned. Odds for end of day today were the last 6 to 10 minutes of close. We'll see if they can get this at least back over the 20 mark. I feel like 350 being beneath 20 is an issue. Okay, I put up a poll, guys, if you don't mind voting on that. It'll be interesting to see what you guys think now that they basically breached 74.11 but also came back over 74.21. I don't think 21's high enough. Like I said, I think they do need at least over 24 to have any sort of odd. But those windows, like I said, were right at like 356, 354, and right after the close. So if they're going to try turning this back around, it'd probably be in like these next 2 to 3 minutes. Otherwise, that's what could just kind of keep this stuck. We'll see if our 5-4, 5-5 sticks can save the range. Okay, I'm just going to manage those last few contracts I have left, and then if I see anything, I'll let you guys know. So far they're stalling. 5-4 is calculated. I know that's the time that we usually watch, but today it's actually a calculated time. So this is a very important point here. Poet getting a break back over that 11 mark. I figured they might try breaking this one into end of day. So I would say that these are probably the cutoff periods here for ES, especially off 354, 355. Can you guys vote, please? $54 is a very calculated time here this afternoon. We'll see if it's enough to basically get us back over this 20. 21.25 is huge. I would say for 55, they probably need back over 21.50 and retest 22 to 23. Otherwise, it's going to be very hard to try getting some structure breaks this afternoon. That's a decent stick at 5.4. 21.50 close, or 21 close, 21.50 highs. Still not enough though to keep it going. It needs back over 2.4. So we'll see if the 50 stick here or 55 stick could get some structure breaks. There's a lot of odds for after the bell today, which I found interesting. Within like the first 5 to 10 minutes. They're still keeping that volatility on by stalling 2-1. Five seven was another calculated time. So you can see the range reduction off that 5-5 stick. We'll see if 5-7 basically negates, okay, or breaks down back beneath 16. So this has to be kind of the turning point here for the index in making a directional break. Okay, so everyone thinks highs are in. Second place is 74.30. I guess we'll see. This is kind of the cutoff, that 57 stick. Like I said, this is calculated time that I had marked from earlier. This is kind of what can keep it going through these last final minutes. I feel like if they can get it over 21.50, 21.75 by that 5-8 mark, they have odds of at least retesting 2.4, 2.5 off of the final minute sticks. Let's see here. This would be like the very important period here. NQ has been stronger all day. Here's the 5-8 break. See if they can get some better structure breaks off 5-8. Like I said, if 5-8 can get over 2-1, 2-150, it tagged 2-175. That's where my alert's on. Then I think that last minute stick has some decent odds to try pushing some range into the close here. We'll see. I think it needs to get a close above 2-1 though. Because otherwise that can get kind of volatile here. They didn't close over 2-1. That's where the volatility can come in. I don't know if you guys are seeing that. Do you see that? Look at that volatility. There's higher odds after the close here, so we'll see. The odds were, I just marked these just to mark them, but the odds for after the bell were 401 to like this window here. So I figured that they probably won't do it in real time, but they probably will break this 2-2 area after the bell here just to kind of pin the close. I think they wanted to keep SPX around the 7,400 mark. That made the most sense to me. Those were some nice end of day breaks on the index. Kind of stalled us, but that made sense based on what they ended up doing. End of session. This one actually held up pretty good into the close. Maybe we'll keep this on watch again next week. Okay, I actually have to call my accountant, guys, so I can't stick around for this, but my accountant's been waiting for me to call them back. There's some odds for anyone trading ES after the bell, so they definitely could push this, guys, to 7431, maybe 7429, but maybe after the close. This is the period here that I had marked, and this was like the earliest point in time for turnarounds was this 401 stick. So 401 could easily get like a nice little structure break, I figured. I held some calls for after the close on SPY just to kind of see how this acts off that 7409. Okay, it's within like this basically before the 415 close. It's right in this interval here. Either way, this is insane that they're literally pinning 7421 for ES, which was my ideal max range scenario for the week if you've been following along. Unfortunately, they took away our expansion odds this afternoon when they stalled during this calculated point here. So if you kind of go back and take a look, this was the more ideal point in time to try continuing to break. When they recycled range down, it basically is what took away our odds of getting these 40s and 30s today. Okay, so it's still okay. 7420s is still a very, very, very good place to pin. I think this still sets us up for some continuation into next week, so we'll see. I have 3 SPY contracts that I left here for these last few minutes. If is anyone trading ES or SPY, there's still this little window here that I figured they could probably push it after the bell. My Discord's not working, so I can't really share those charts, but these were the times that I had for after close. So I had a feeling that if they didn't break during this 5-4, 5-5 follow through and 5-7, 5-7 when it closed beneath 2-1, that they probably were not going to do this in real time, especially since most of the odds today were for after close here. So mm. 7424 triggering off these calculated points. That's about the point that I figured that they're going to do this. I had a feeling they'd probably break this after the bell. There was some pretty good odds during this period here in terms of breaking. off 404, 402, 401, 406. 7425 being retested here. I don't know if anyone did any contracts. I left some SPY contracts just that I did earlier off that 7409, and I figured I'd hold them for a few minutes after the bell here just to see if they actually give us this retest. I just covered half. I have, I think, only one contract left. I'll put a trailing stop on that. Have a good weekend, guys. That was a really nice end of day trade. I know it doesn't really seem like much, but that was still a nice move from like 25 cents to 80 cents on those calls. I have to recap on Sunday. Obviously, there's a lot that kind of went on this week. Unfortunately, the stupid bot didn't record the last two streams. I don't know what's going on with that, like on Discord, so I don't really have any transcriptions from the day before into today, but I did try transcribing the YouTube stream and the Twitch stream from yesterday, I think, but it just takes about 48 hours. So once I have that transcribed, I will put that in. A lot of it was time-based. This is a time flip here, okay? So that's why I figured they probably won't retest 7422 to 24 till after the bell, especially when they stalled here. They can still give us a retest of 28 and 31. Obviously, it's not required. The 7421 and 7424 were some of my calculated max ranges for this week anyway. So I'm still very, very, very happy that we hit those price points, specifically on that reset that we had yesterday back to 3.8. Had they not done this, we for sure would have had a core range break to like 74 50s or 70s this week. I think them retracting it back down kind of took away those odds from us, but don't forget, we're going to have to eventually come back to 73.20s. There has to be a point where they have to come back and digest that. 2-day continuation is still basically on that way. This doesn't flip until Tuesday, guys, so if they want to continue through Monday, they could. Whether or not you want to hold calls over the weekend is up to you. This is a very, 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 very good spot to close, okay? This could easily trigger 74.50s and 70s, just FYI, whoever's still listening. This is a really, really, really good spot for us to close in. So if you want to swing over the weekend, obviously that's up to you. I only left 3 calls just to keep them, I guess, for Monday's 11th flip. We had some multi-flips between May 11th through 13th, so I can't remember what we had happening on the 11th and 12th, but there was definitely something. What was it? I don't remember. But there was something in between, and those were like mid-flips, multi-flips. I don't know if it was. What was it that we had happening that day? But there's something that's going on that day that's linked to those flip dates. But anyway, that 2-day doesn't flip over till the 12th. So I figured if we close at 74.20s, which is an extremely calculated area, there's obviously some decent odds that they could get those extensions, right? So basically, long story short, like if they're going to pin these ranges here, okay, like, and specifically off here, then there's still some odds they can end up triggering these spots next week, okay? Right now, this is basically them hitting close to those 430s. I don't know if you guys can see this from here. Do you see that? And off that structure close. This is why I figured there's still some potential that they could get that, but they did start stalling just a little bit. So this is the 430, 426, 436. Otherwise, they could have easily triggered these areas this week, like right back in here, and then those 460s. So I still think that they're in play, but I don't know. That's kind of a weird question to ask. You want to get puts? I'll go ahead. It's not any of my business. They could run this to 75.20 before they run it back down. So that's obviously a risk that you're accepting to take. Okay, so if you want to do that, go ahead. I know that we have to eventually come back to 73.20s at some point. It's whether or not they want to run this from 74.20s to 74.70s, maybe 75.10 first before coming back down there. So a lot of that is going to be based on what they do on Monday, Tuesday. But if you want to get next Friday puts, that's obviously up to you. I can't give you that advice. Okay, guys, have